you're a South African brand, then you probably think that email marketing is dead, and so many do, and I don't blame you. But you are losing hundreds of thousands of rands, if not millions, if you do have that false perception. And I get it, I understand that it seems outdated, but what you have to understand is that 99% of people with a smartphone open up their emails on a daily basis, with 53% of those people opening up first thing in the morning. So what that means is you have a massive population of people, pretty much every person who has a smartphone, which is probably your ideal customer, and you're not capturing that market. That is tons of money left on the table. And this is exactly how we've managed to take brands from doing about 20,000 Rand per month with email to doing over 453,000 Rand per month with email in only a 3-month span. That kind of growth is unmatched. You only spend a fraction of that on email compared to trying to do that with advertising. That's exactly why we run the #1 email marketing agency for South African brands. And what I want to cover is the blueprint. So you don't have to hire an agency, #1, if you don't want to. And #2, you have the exact blueprint on how to make hundreds of thousands of rands more with your brand without spending more on ads, because everyone has this false perception that you need ads to make it. And while it's only partly true, I think that there's a massive channel that's being ignored, and that's exactly what I want to cover in this video. So let's look at what the first step is to you actually starting with email marketing. And the #1 thing that you need to do is you need to choose the right tool. Naturally so. I have another video on this where I go over all of the tools out there that I would heavily consider. But to cut it short, you don't need to watch that. I think that you should go with Klaviyo. I have no affiliation with them, but they are hands down the best platform and is the platform that we use for all of our clients. Now, if you're a smaller team, I understand that this might not be the most cost effective, especially if you have a big email list. You would ideally, if you're a small team just starting out, go with MailChimp. I think MailChimp is a free start, but their pricing does rack up very quickly. And there are way better other platforms to use instead. So I would consider either OmniSend or Bravo as your other options as well. But hands down, if pricing is fine, you should definitely consider Klaviyo, and you'll make back all of the money in no time anyway. But now that you have your tool, it doesn't just stop there, obviously. Now you need people to actually email. And this is the section where a lot of companies kind of fail. You need to build your list. And this is where you need ads, and it depends on where you are in your company's journey. If you're just starting out, then great, you're not starting on a bad note. What you need to do is you need to build a strong structure. You need to be running ads, you need to be focusing on hacking the algorithm, you need to be focusing on traffic. That is your #1 priority if you're below 100,000 Rand per month. If you're sitting at that place where you're not making that much per month in online revenue, then this is what you need to focus on. Double down on trying to get customers through the door. Whether it is through ads, whether it is through viral TikToks, whether it's through UGC, whatever it is that you want to use. And just a hint, I would focus on creating viral organic content because it costs you way less and it has a lot more potential. That's exactly how companies like Checkers ended up growing so quickly over a space of what seems like overnight. It's because they focused on virality and creating viral content instead of spending all their money on ads. So that's the #1 way. And now that you're bringing people to the website, you can focus on the next step. And keep in mind, if you're doing over 100,000 Rand, I think you should still be doing this simultaneously, focusing on new customers coming in, because you can always recapture that. Now that you've got people coming in though, is the next step. You have to capture that information, you have to capture those people. So what I recommend is, that's why you need that email tool in place, ideally from the get-go. You don't want to have this as an afterthought, because a big mistake that a lot of companies make is people will come to their website, they're working tons and tons of time and money, spending it on getting traffic in, but they're not capturing it. And that is a massive weak point and some outdated marketing method in the South African market that the global market gets completely right. You need to be capturing information. That is the game that we're playing right now. You need to own a marketing channel, and that's why email marketing is so powerful. Because once someone comes in and you have the information, you can market to them forever. So what you'll do is you need to set up a sign-up form. You need to prompt them with some kind of offer so that they actually want to give you the information. So having a tool in place, capturing the information, that's the #1 thing. A few ways that I would recommend that you can actually capture information with ease is obviously no one is just going to go to your website and give you over their email address. They need a little bit more of a prompt. And we work on 3 offer types. Number 1 is just purely value-based or educational based. This is where you're promising to send them over something for free that will be valuable to them. So if you're selling, I don't know, personal training, or you're selling meal plans, or maybe you're selling kitchenware, then you're gonna send over some information about that. These are the 5 best recipes I would recommend for a busy mom. These are the 5 workouts that you can use to get your 6-pack today. So things like this, that people actually want to give their information, they're getting something for free out of it, and they buy into your culture. The second thing that you can do is obviously an offer on their first purchase. This is the way that most brands go, and it does work. It is the best working method. So you just offer some kind of 30% off or 40% off their first purchase. That is always a bonus. And the third way that you can get people to give over their information is to enter them into some kind of giveaway. Obviously make it appealing enough that they want to. No one wants to sign up for a potential to maybe win 5 marbles. They want to sign up because they can win a pair of Jordan shoes or something like that. So this is what you need to prioritize, and you can make it more fun. You can put a spin the wheel, you can make it engaging. Either way, when people come to your website, there should be a prompt to give over their email address, and that should be in the form of either an embedded sign-up form or a pop-up, which I highly recommend. And now that you're in the process of building your list, let's say that you've gone ahead and set this up, we need to move over to segmenting your list. And that's why I recommend Klaviyo and some of the other platforms, is because they have this automatically built in. And what this actually means is when people sign up to your list, you now have this massive bucket of people. But within there's different archetypes, there's different people in that list, which means that there are people that have subscribed and made a purchase, but then there's people that have subscribed and haven't made a purchase. And they need different marketing messages conveniently to convert. So what that means is you have some people that are coming in and they're abandoning their checkout. You can automatically create a segment so you can send them some emails prompting them to make that next move. And on the alternative side, you can figure out who your engaged customers are and send them personal notes. You can send them personal gifts. You can build this strong culture within your team that goes a way more of a mile than just sending generic emails. And that is what separates the best brands from the generic ones that don't make the growth. And on that note, what you can now do that you've got segments is you can build automations and flows. And this is the key where most brands scale to millions in months. And take it from me, from one automated flow of emails, we were able to generate over 3 million Rand in the span of 6 months for one brand. And that was without us lifting a finger, without them lifting a finger. It was just a proven system in place. Now, let me explain a little bit more about what the flows and the automations are. Think of this. When someone subscribes to your website, do you want to manually go and send an email every single time someone does it? Or do you want a system that greets them for you with your marketing message, with your branding, and with your offers? Probably the latter. That's exactly what this does for you. It's like having a sales team on automation. It's like an AI automation team. So what you're gonna go ahead and do is you wanna set up 5 main flows and automations. Number 1, your welcome flow. This is a flow that will automatically send a sequence of about 5 emails over the span of 5 or 6 days. This is going to go out to people and introduce them to your brand. So once they subscribe, instead of, like I said, instead of them manually entering their information and you manually sending them an email, instead what's happening is they're subscribing, they want to get their initial offer, and it automatically sends the welcome email saying, hey, welcome to the brand. We love that you're here. So grateful for you. Here's what we offer. Here's our brand story. Here's why we do what we do. That way you're nurturing them. And then in the next email, you can send a prompt to say, hey, did you happen to use your 30% off? And it knows whether they did or not. And you can start sending very targeted messages. That's the welcome flow. The next one you want to have in place is a checkout abandonment. The checkout abandonment and the cart abandonment are 2 different things, but you want both in place. So that's number 2 and number 3. It's about the same messaging though. In both of them, you want to make sure that people that have gone through the website, they've added to their carts, but they have not made a purchase. You want to send very specific targeted messaging, and you want to get them over the edge because they were right there anyway. They were almost at the point of making a purchase. That is as close to a sale as you're gonna get, these are hot leads waiting for another message from you. So what we do is we set up that after 15 minutes, they will get an email saying, hey, you left this behind, it's gonna expire soon, or it might sell out. We just wanted to give you kind of a prompt to get back to your cart before it does. We would love to see you back here. Send over that and you would be surprised by how much revenue this generates. Usually 40% of the revenue from our flows comes from the abandoned checkout. It's amazing how many people get distracted, or they get prompted by something, or they get buyer's remorse halfway through the process, and they just need a little nudge to put them over the edge. That is going to be the sales that drives you hundreds of thousands of rands higher. The fourth thing that you want to put into place is a win-back flow. The win-back flow is specific for people that have made a purchase at some point in the buying journey. So they purchased from you maybe 2 years ago, or maybe last month, whenever it was, but they have not made a purchase for the last 90 days. The reason for that is because these are lapsing customers. You want to make sure that while they're lapsing, they're being prompted to purchase again, or you're encouraging them to become a repeat purchaser. So many people buy a product once and they never come back, and it's only because they get distracted, they don't think of the company again, or maybe the product wasn't good enough. All of that is information for you to use and get more sales from. And that's why a win-back flow is so important. The next one that you want to set up is the browse abandonment. Similar to the carts and the checkout, but a slight difference. What happens is people will come to your website, they'll look around, and then they leave. That's going to happen a lot if you're running ads or if they find you through social media. The trick here is they don't get left alone from this point. If you're not sending out a browse abandonment, that's probably why you're not scaling, because tons of people are coming in looking around. But what you now have is access to the information to send them emails directly. That's what these tools do for you. So if I take a look at your product right now and I just leave the website, after 20 minutes, it should send an email saying, hey, you had a look around, did you see anything you like? This is what we would recommend based on what you had a look at. And that kind of personal messaging is the difference of why other brands are scaling and why you're probably not. So you should have that in place. So what this means now that you have this in place is that you have automated sales every single day without lifting a finger. You don't have to go and now do daily emails and hope and pray that you'll get a sale somewhere. You have a proven system that is going to capture all the data and it's automated. You have a sales system at the tip of your finger, and this is what you need to put in place. But it doesn't just stop there. You do still need campaigns, and that's kind of the next step in this blueprint. What you need to do now is you need to have a system and a process of sending out at least 1 to 2 emails per week. This is a strategy that we have used for our clients over 7 years, and this is exactly how we do generate companies over 10 million rand per month, and some others, getting them to 1.2 million rand in a single month. That's exactly how we managed to do it, is by following a simple system of sending 1 to 2 emails per week, where in the beginning of the week we'll send a bit more of an education email, and that as a byproduct of the education and the value we provide, they actually get sales. And second, later on in the week, we'll send a more promotional email. Now that doesn't necessarily mean a sale, it means that we're talking more promotionally about a product, whether that's pushing urgency, the benefits of the product, or talking about the product specifically. So let me give you an example. We are working with a company who's a supplement brand, and they specifically sell supplements that are great for sleep. So the way that we do it is in the beginning of the week, we'll send an email about how many people actually suffer from insomnia or bad sleep without realizing it, and how it affects their mood, their marriage, their children, whatever it is, their work life. We talk about all those pain points. We kind of want to sell them on the fact that bad sleep is the one thing you want to avoid in life. So we kind of diagnose them in that first email with value and with statistics. In the next email, we'll send them an email saying, hey, by the way, a lot of you have asked what we would recommend for sleep. This is what we would recommend. This is our flagship product. These are the infographic benefits of it, etc., etc. So you're selling the diagnosis, and then you're selling the cure for that diagnosis. And that is the system that works incredibly well. You can use it for absolutely anything. If you're selling meal plans, then what you do in the beginning is you talk about how bad diet affects your gut health. In the next one, you'll talk about how this meal plan is why so many people, hundreds of people, have gone off to have better living lives with better gut health. So that is how you can kind of go about it. And on top of that, then you can start split testing. You can run some better call to actions. You can run different types of emails, whether that is shorter, whether it's longer. And you need to do split testing. So in the beginning, it's very simple. It's easy to send out some emails. I completely understand that. You know, some people might find it complicated, but for the most part, it is a simple system that you can follow. But where it gets complicated and why a lot of companies bring on teams like ours is because we do all the legwork of thinking about the campaigns, thinking about the strategy, thinking about the flows and how to build them. And what else we do is we consistently test everything. So we are doing the legwork of figuring out what kind of emails are our customers responding to. It doesn't need to be longer, it doesn't need to be shorter, it doesn't need to be image based or text based, does it need to show this amount of products or does it need to show testimonials. That's what we figure out, and things that you can figure out if you split test your campaigns that will give you valuable information that is priceless. And I already know what you're thinking. If you're thinking, but emails are spam and I get annoyed by emails and I hate emails, that means that you're not putting together good enough emails. A good email should not feel spammy. It should feel valuable, or it should feel like it is taking them into account and working best for them. That's the massive difference. And now that you have the solid system in place where you have your emails, you have your flows, you know that you're capturing an audience, what comes next? And the last thing that you need to think about is analytics and data. Again, this is where we really come and play for our clients. We do the work for them. But now you can have fun analyzing the data and using it to inform decisions later on in the business and even inform other parts of the business. If you know that a certain product goes incredibly well on email, you can use that product on all the ads. And if you know that it's performing well on email, you can also advertise it a little bit more on the website. So it really creates a healthy funnel. And from there, you can make more informed decisions. Let's say that you're running a campaign and you notice that a 30% discount works better than a 15% discount, or maybe it actually doesn't work dramatically different. Then you can heighten your margins by running less sales, and that will benefit you greatly. So this is why email is so untapped and why you should be using it with a no-brainer system. So with that being said, if you are actually looking for an email team to come in and do everything for you so you don't have to think about it and you can work with a team that works on guarantee and risk-free, then go down below, book in a call, and we'll see if we're a fit. We only work with companies making more than 100,000 Rand per month at this point because we want to work with the best of the best. If that's you, then go down below, let's book in a call, and I'll see you on the other side. But otherwise, I hope this is valuable. I hope you start to set up your email system, and I'm sure it will work for you. So I'll see you in the next.